privileged this morning to have in our midst Honorable Wilmot A. Reeves, the Deputy Minister of Trade at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry of the Republic of Liberia. The last but not the least, who just stood up, is Mr. Sir Samoa, the Commissioner of Customs of the Republic of Liberia, and the host of this meeting. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, it is my singular pleasure to invite the Commissioner of Customs of the Republic of Liberia to give his welcome address. Please make way for the Commissioner. Thank you very much. Now the Commissioner will pass. If not, we will hear what he's going to say.
Thank you, Felix. I'm a big fan of virtual speeches. So I'm quite sure that I'll be very brief this morning. Before I begin, let me extend personal apologies of my boss, Commissioner General, Honorable James Rojala, for the very last meeting this morning. Proud to say that he wouldn't be able to show up because of very pressing national emergencies. All the same, we're here. So, Your Excellency, Madam Ambassador, Special Representative of the President of the ECOWAS Commission, the Honorable Dane, our colleagues and technical experts from Guinea, Cote d'Ivoire, and Liberia, other officials of government here present. I haven't seen recognized the face. Distinguished members of the private sector and youth advisors, fellow officers. Very importantly, our special team from the ECOWAS Commission, who have been very productive for our gathering here today. If there is any representation from the GIZ, we'd like to recognize you, and from the European Union. It is a great honor and privilege to welcome you all to Liberia for this important occasion, marking the official launch of the ECOWAS Regional Interconnectivity System for the management of goods in transit, commonly known as SIGMAT. Today marks a significant milestone not only for Liberia Customs, but also for the broader ECOWAS region, as we take a decisive step towards modernizing and harmonizing our transit systems. Through this initiative, Liberia joins our sister administrations of the Republic of Guinea and Cote d'Ivoire in adopting and deploying a platform for managing goods in transit, a system designed to enhance transparency, reduce clearance time, and strengthen border management and trade security. The implementation of SIGMA in Liberia demonstrates our commitment to regional integration, trade facilitation, and the digital transformation of customs. Allow me to extend my profound appreciation to our partners, the ECOWAS Commission, the European Union, the government of the Federal Republic of Germany through the GIZ, for their continued technical, financial support in making this project a reality. Their collaboration underscores the shared vision of building a connected, efficient, and secure trade corridor across West Africa. My colleagues, the Directors General of Customs of Guinea and Cote d'Ivoire absent today, I thank you for your cooperation and partnership. Our collective leadership and our technical teams have worked tirelessly to achieve interoperability among our systems, proving that regional solutions are indeed possible when they are shared, when there's a shared commitment and trust. To our private sector partners, as we officially launch SIGMA today, let us reaffirm our dedication in sustaining this momentum, ensuring that the system delivers on this promise of efficiency, transparency, and reliability. Together we can build a future where goods move freely, securely, and smoothly across for our people. And mes amis de la Côte d'Ivoire et de la Guinée, en particulier les représentants du directeur général de la douane de la Guinée et le représentant du directeur général de douane de la Côte d'Ivoire. Je vous souhaite la bienvenue et bon séjour au Libéria. I hope I have tried in my little French to welcome my friends from across the borders, but all the same, I want to thank you and welcome to this lunch. Thank you.
Thank you very much, the Commissioner of Customs. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up to the Commissioner. Thank you so much. Indeed, the Commissioner of Customs of Liberia is a man of many parts, and I'm sure his colleagues were pleasantly surprised at his dexterity to the French language. So can I also acknowledge that in this room, not only do we have the members of the three customs administrations, we also have the private sector and other stakeholders who are very well represented in this country, because transit trade is not only for customs. Thank you very much. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure once again to invite the Inspector General of Customs of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire to also come and deliver this address. Thank you very much. Je préfère parler seulement en français. Monsieur le ministre des Finances, de la Planification et du Développement économique du Libéria. Monsieur le vice-ministre du Commerce et de l'Industrie du Libéria, Monsieur le directeur général des douanes du Libéria, Monsieur le représentant du directeur général des douanes de la Guinée, Madame la représentante présidente de la commission de la CEDEAO, Messieurs les chefs de service des douanes du Libéria,
Mesdames et messieurs les représentants du secteur privé du Liberia, mesdames et messieurs les experts, mesdames et messieurs les partenaires, honorables invités, mesdames et messieurs de la presse, mesdames et messieurs, le général Bakary Alphonse, directeur général des douanes de Côte d'Ivoire, résigné de devoir renoncer à effectuer des déplacements en raison de contraintes familiales, a bien voulu me désigner pour le représenter à la présente réunion avec ses pairs du Liberia et de la Guinée. C'est donc pour moi un insigne honneur de me retrouver parmi vous et de prendre la parole en son nom pour délivrer le présent message à l'occasion du déploiement du CIMAT entre les administrations douanières de la Côte d'Ivoire, du Liberia et de la Guinée. Permettez-moi avant tout d'adresser mes vifs remerciements au gouvernement de la République du Liberia, à Monsieur le directeur général des douanes du Liberia, ainsi qu'à la commission de la CEDEAO pour l'accueil chaleureux qui nous a été réservé à moi-même et à la délégation qui m'accompagne à notre arrivée à Monrovia au Liberia, en terre africaine, et pour toutes les commodités mises à notre disposition pour rendre notre séjour agréable. Mesdames et messieurs, depuis son lancement à Abidjan le 20 mars 2019, entre la Côte d'Ivoire et le Burkina, sous l'égide de la commission de la CEDEAO, le système interconnecté de gestion des marchandises en transit, en abrégé SIGMAT, adopté comme instrument technique de mise en œuvre de l'interconnexion des systèmes informatiques douaniers des administrations douanières de la CEDEAO, pour répondre aux défis de la sécurisation du transit des marchandises et de la facilitation des échanges entre les États membres, s'étend progressivement à plusieurs corridors de l'espace régional. La présente réunion des directeurs généraux des douanes de la Côte d'Ivoire, de la Guinée et du Liberia, consacrée au déploiement du SIGMAT entre les trois pays, vient donc concrétiser l'engagement de notre communauté à aller résolument vers l'opérationnalisation complète du nouveau régime de transit communautaire de la CEDEAO et la mise en œuvre du SIGMAT conformément à l'acte additionnel sur le transit communautaire de la CEDEAO adopté par la conférence des chefs d'État et de gouvernement le 12 décembre 2021. Mesdames et messieurs, cette rencontre a été précédée hier d'une réunion d'experts des administrations douanières de nos trois États et de la commission de la CEDEAO pour identifier et lever toutes les difficultés techniques à son opérationnalisation et pour explorer les voies et moyens d'harmoniser et optimiser les procédures pour la mise en œuvre efficiente du SIGMAT à nos frontières. En attendant de prendre connaissance des résultats des recommandations issues de leurs travaux, je voudrais d'ores et déjà vous assurer de l'engagement du directeur général des douanes de Côte d'Ivoire et du ministre des Finances et du Budget de Côte d'Ivoire à ne ménager aucun effort pour jouer notre partition en vue d'assurer le succès de l'opérationnalisation du SIGMAT, pour sécuriser le transit et faciliter les échanges entre la Côte d'Ivoire et la Guinée d'une part, entre la Côte d'Ivoire et le Liberia d'autre part. Je voudrais saisir cette occasion pour saluer la franche collaboration qui existe entre les douanes ivoiriennes, guinéennes et libériennes et me féliciter de ce que les partages d'informations à travers le SIGMAT vont immanquablement vitaliser cette collaboration et produire d'importants résultats pour nos trois administrations sœurs en termes d'optimisation des recettes douanières et de lutte contre la fraude et les trafics illicites multiformes. C'est sur ces mots que je voudrais clore mon propos et souhaiter plein succès à nos travaux. Je vous remercie.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give it up once again for the Inspector General of Customs of Côte d'Ivoire. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, I also want to recognize the presence of the representative of the Managing Director of the National Port Authority of the Republic of Liberia. You're welcome. Thank you. So at this stage, once again, the honor has fallen on me to invite the technical advisor to the Director General of Customs of Guinea to present his address. Yeah, please, let's clap for him, Mr. Lamin, Babele, and here.
Mesdames, Messieurs, Monsieur le vice-ministre du Commerce du Liberia, Monsieur le directeur général des douanes du Liberia, Monsieur le représentant du directeur général des douanes de la Côte d'Ivoire, Madame la représentante résidente du président de la commission de la CEDEAO, Mesdames, Messieurs les représentants des institutions internationales et sous-régionales, Monsieur le commissaire des affaires étrangères et économiques, Monsieur le commissaire aux affaires économiques et à l'agriculture, Mesdames et Messieurs les directeurs centraux de l'administration des douanes du Liberia, Messieurs les experts techniques, distingués invités à vos rangs et titres, tout protocole conforme. Mesdames, Messieurs, permettez-moi tout d'abord de vous présenter les esprits du directeur général des douanes de Guinée qui ne peut malheureusement pas être présent ici pour participer à cette importante cérémonie. C'est un honneur et un agréable plaisir pour moi de prendre la parole devant vous au nom du colonel-chef David Condé, directeur général des douanes de la République de Guinée, à l'occasion du déploiement du SIGMAT entre la Côte d'Ivoire, la Guinée et le Liberia. C'est le lieu d'exprimer ma profonde reconnaissance aux plus hautes autorités politiques et administratives libériennes, ainsi qu'à Monsieur le directeur général des douanes du Liberia et ses proches collaborateurs pour avoir accepté d'abriter la présente rencontre, mais aussi pour sa parfaite organisation et l'accueil chaleureux et fraternel réservé aux différentes délégations. Mes remerciements s'adressent également aux représentants du Monsieur le directeur général des douanes de la Côte d'Ivoire, ainsi qu'aux représentants de la CEDEAO et autres partenaires au développement pour les efforts qui ne cessent de déployer en faveur du renforcement des capacités des administrations douanières de notre région. Après plusieurs mois de travaux réalisés par les équipes techniques de nos différents pays respectifs, avec l'appui des partenaires et des experts techniques, nous voilà réunis cette fois-ci à Monrovia pour le déploiement du SIGMAT entre la Guinée, la Côte d'Ivoire et le Liberia. Aujourd'hui, La Guinée est techniquement connectée avec la Côte d'Ivoire et le Liberia. Le SIGMAT est désormais opérationnel avec succès entre nos trois États. Il nous reste malgré tout un long chemin à parcourir. Ajouter d'autres pays, notamment le Sénégal, la Sierra Leone, le Mali, la Guinée-Bissau et la Gambie. Je souhaite féliciter les équipes techniques pour la qualité des travaux. Mesdames, Messieurs, le déploiement du SIGMAT entre nos pays vise à faciliter et à simplifier les procédures d'échange dans notre sous-région, à réduire les coûts et les délais de procédure, à sécuriser la chaîne logistique et les recettes douanières, à accélérer les opérations douanières et à réduire la fraude. Je suis rassuré que nous disposons dès à présent d'assez d'éléments pour la prise en charge plus efficace des marchandises et la maîtrise des flux des échanges entre nos États. Aussi, nos pays auront beaucoup à gagner avec la mise en œuvre du SIGMAT et son déploiement aura sans nul doute un impact positif sur le taux de croissance des pays et par conséquent sur le niveau de vie des populations. Je nourris l'espoir avec l'accompagnement des partenaires et l'engagement des cadres techniques de nos administrations douanières. Ce déploiement répondra à nos attentes. Mesdames et Messieurs, je vous remercie de votre collaboration.
Thank you very much. The technical advisor to the Director General of Customs of Guinea, ladies and gentlemen, as he resumes his seat, can we still give it up to him? At this point, ladies and gentlemen, it is not always the case that you have ministerial presence at your meetings. Transit is all about cross-border trade, and SIGMAT is all about cross-border trade. So at this stage, I would like to invite the Honorable Deputy Minister, not Minister, you could just make your remarks from the podium over there. The Honorable Wilford Reeves, the Deputy Minister of Trade, to give his remarks.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, Ambassador and President Representative of the ECOWAS Commission of Liberia, my friend and brother, Commissioner of Customs, of course, the Liberian Revenue Authority, and then, of course, the Director of Customs of the Republic of Cote d'Ivoire, Director of Customs of the Republic of Guinea, distinguished guests here present, representatives from the Liberian Revenue Authority, and of course, the Deputy Managing Director of the National Port Authority here present. I bring you greetings from the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, especially from the Minister, the Honorable Martelin Dagosi. And I want to say a big thank you to the Liberian Revenue Authority for the invitation to be part of this important undertaking. What is happening here today, the launch of this platform, SIGMAT, basically is in sync with the national development agenda of this country. In 2025, as you may be aware, Liberia basically launched the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development. In the Arrest Agenda for Inclusive Development, the first pillar basically is economic transformation. And as part of the effort to economically transform this country, one of the priorities that we have basically set as a government is to basically go digital on many of our services that we offer. So this sort of interconnected custom system that is being introduced and launched here today is something that is in sync with the government's development agenda of this country. So we want to say a big thank you to the architects, the ECOWAS Commission, for really supporting this effort and trying to make sure that member states are somehow connected to going digital on many of the services that we offer. Because one of the priorities that we are looking at is to make sure that trade facilitation becomes a reality, and trying to make sure that the private sector is able to utilize services that will help to grow this economy. So we want to say a big thank you to our neighboring countries, Côte d'Ivoire and then Guinea, for coming to be a part of this process. And we look forward to Sierra Leone also coming on board, so that at least what we used to call them the Growth Triangle, when there was the Mara River Union was just Guinea, Liberia, and then Sierra Leone, but now that we have Côte d'Ivoire, I call them the rectangular growth angle in the sense. So we want to say a big thank you again to the Liberia Revenue Authority, and then of course the ECOWAS Commission, and the Ministry of Commerce and Industry is basically ready as a partner to be able to further the implementation of this particular platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We are very grateful for your insightful remarks. And indeed, it's all about digitalization, it's all about trade facilitation, it's all about moving the ECOWAS region forward. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor and privilege to invite Her Excellency, Ambassador Josephine Frimpong. Is it Frimpong? Nkrumah? Sorry. Where did I get the Frimpong from? Ambassador Josephine Nkrumah, the resident representative of the President of ECOWAS Commission, to deliver her opening address. Your Excellency.
Let me just reiterate and emphasize, my name is Josephine Nkrumah, a name I'm very proud of, so please do not change my name. The protocols have been very eloquently established, so permit me to adopt those protocols, and whilst I do so, to add my voice to my brothers here from Liberia, welcoming all of us who are not from Liberia to this warm country, to wish you a pleasant stay here, and to enjoy your visit in Liberia. Whilst we work this morning on very serious business, I hope that after this you will make the time to explore and enjoy good food, warm people, and a pleasant environment. I am here today to represent the Commissioner for Economic Affairs and Agriculture of the ECOWAS Commission. He has just been newly appointed. His name is Dr. Kalilu Silla. Last week we had a very interesting conversation where he had called to ask that I represent him. But in the conversation, one thing was very clear. He is very passionate about the portfolio he's taking on, and he believes very strongly that Africa's transformation, and indeed ECOWAS's transformation, lies in our economic transformation. And so instruments such as SIGMAT, instruments like the ECOWAS Trade Liberalization Scheme, and related protocols are key instruments that can drive this agenda. However, it's important that no matter how efficient these protocols or these instruments are, it is its efficient implementation that makes it a success. So SIGMAT on its own is a very laudable instrument that can actually bring change, that can influence trade positively, that can drive trade integration, that can build access to markets, but it rests upon us as member states to ensure that we implement this. And so before I read his speech, I had the privilege of visiting Liberia's borders to Guinea and Cote d'Ivoire. And I've had the privilege of speaking to the private sector, to the customs, to immigration, to cross-border traders, particularly cross-border women traders, and the challenges and impediments that they face in spite of what we consider our free protocols for movement, for trade. It behoves all of us sitting here and as key stakeholders, customs, to ensure that we fully appreciate, understand, and implement these trade protocols so that trade can thrive in our West African sub-region. Many years after the ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme, frankly, there are many traders, cross-border traders, who are not benefiting from it. When you speak to women traders in particular, for some of them, their trade, the impediments to their trade diminishes their trade capital, and its ripple effect is real. Women who cannot trade cannot support men to put food on the table for their children. They cannot support their children to go to school. They cannot afford good education, good health care. And so the linkages between trade facilitation and the lives of citizenry is very real. The linkages between trade facilitation and our social stability and political stability is very real. And so I want to urge us here that as we are looking at SIGMAT and looking to launch SIGMAT today, I want to add my voice to the many voices of people to urge our national stakeholders to disseminate and drive down sensitization around SIGMAT, around the ETLS, and ensure that trade thrives in our economies. No matter how many fine speeches we read and how many launches of great instruments we make, it is you and I that will make it work. And so this is my personal plea to customs, that we play a pivotal role in changing the narrative of these instruments to make them truly enforceable, truly beneficial, and that it drives trade for our economic prosperity. Permit me now, therefore, to read Dr. Kadilo Sila's message that he has asked me to do on his behalf. The Directors General of Customs of Liberia, Cote d'Ivoire, and Guinea, experts from the 3 member states herein gathered, ECOWAS staff, media, of course our partners, GIZ, who we would like to thank for their support. On behalf of the President of the ECOWAS Commission, His Excellency Dr. Omar Ali Toure, I'd like to welcome you all to this very important event. The role of an efficient transit regime and the facilitation of international trade is borne out by numerous international instruments. The ECOWAS revised treaty, a revised Kyoto Convention, and the World Trade Organization Agreement on Trade Facilitation underscore the importance of the transit regime whilst advocating for its simplification and efficiency. As a community, therefore, our economic integration depends largely on how efficiently goods cross our various borders from one member state to another. This is where the management of transit becomes very critical to the economic development of our ECOWAS community. As heads of customs administrations in your respective countries, you are well aware not only of the importance of transit, but also the challenges associated with every suspense regime. The challenges of transit affect government revenue and industry and pose significant danger to national and regional security and stability. Directors Generals of Customs, ladies and gentlemen, as part of transit reforms, the ECOWAS community launched the automated regional transit solution known as the Interconnected System for the Management of Goods in Transit, SIGMAT, in Abidjan in 2019, and adopted the regulatory framework through the Supplementary Act on the ECOWAS Community Transit in December of 2021. The launch of SIGMAT and the subsequent progressive deployment in member states represent a major step in the efforts of the community to overhaul the entire transit arrangement in West Africa with the view to making it more efficient and attractive to the private sector, to international investor community, and the customs administrations in the region. One major challenge of transit cargo movement, whether as the country of departure, transit, or destination, relates to the availability of transit cargo information. With the electronic exchange of transit messages and the availability of advanced cargo information, customs administrations involved in a transit operation have control over the transit regime to minimize cargo diversion and its attendant negative effects. Indeed, it is important to note that SIGMAT is a homegrown solution to address community challenges. It is not something that we have just bought and have imposed on ourselves. It is a homegrown solution to address homegrown challenges. And we couldn't be more prouder than this moment that we have managed to put together this SIGMAT, and it is already being implemented effectively and successfully in other corridors. I'm happy to note that almost all ECOWAS member states have installed SIGMAT in their customs systems, with a few yet to operationalize sale. The full benefits of SIGMAT can be obtained when all member states have installed and deployed the transit solution along all the transit corridors in the sub-region. At this point, I would like to salute the efforts of the Directors Generals of Customs of Côte d'Ivoire, General D.A.P. Alphonse and his administration, for their pioneering role and the collaboration with the ECOWAS Commission in the deployment of SIGMAT throughout the community. Ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to commend the Directors General of the Customs of Liberia and Guinea for working tirelessly to ensure that the trade corridors linking the three member states are fully interconnected to facilitate trade. The deployment of SIGMAT between Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, and Guinea today is a testament to the fact that ECOWAS is interested and concerned about all trade corridors in the region and will continue to support all member states in their efforts to achieve full connectivity and enhance the fluidity of cross-border trade along the transit corridors in the community. At this point, Directors General, permit me to say that to achieve seamless connectivity in the ECOWAS region, where all countries are connected to each other, I encourage all member states to be connected to the SIGMAT, the e-hub at their community computer center in Lome, Togo, to ensure that all member states have 2 levels of connectivity for operational stability, reliability, and efficiency. On this note, Directors General, ladies and gentlemen, it is my singular honor to declare the meeting of the Directors Generals of Customs of Liberia, Guinea, and Cote d'Ivoire on the deployment of SIGMAT duly open. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for your words this morning. Indeed, Her Excellency is very passionate about cross-border trade. So we are very much appreciative for your words this morning. At this stage, ladies and gentlemen, it's important to have a group photograph. And indeed, we would not miss this opportunity to ensure that today's event is well secured for posterity. So, Mr. Amos here with the white beard will guide us to exactly the exact spot where we can have a group photograph. And I would also encourage, in addition to the DJs and the high table, the Liberian Revenue Authority ably turned out here in their beautiful uniforms to ensure that they don't miss out on this opportunity. So can we step out for a group photograph? Amos will guide us the different types of photographs we're going to have, the high table, everybody and the rest. So if you'd like to follow my colleague Amos outside for the group photograph.